Time now for our international press review in the papers, is what we like to call it. Catherine Spencer is here to, starting with Lebanon, I think, obviously a story making international headlines.
Well, the problems seem to be escalating at the moment. L'Orient Le Jour, which is a Lebanese newspaper, the front page has got two images showing masked gunmen, and one of the captions says, the images resemble civil war. So the tone's pretty serious. The editorial in the same newspaper is also paints a rather pessimistic view of the situation. It says that it looks at the reasons behind this conflict. It's from the sort of leaderless government, from its decision to shut down Hezbollah's telephone network, and also the fact that the Shiite militant groups increasingly armed, which is adding more and more problems to the country. Moving on to the Daily Star, which is an English language Lebanese newspaper. That's got a slightly more optimistic tone to a certain extent, and that says that basically they will. The messages coming from the two main leaders involved in the conflict, they're basically saying the same thing. They're trying to kind of show that they mean business, but they probably will try and back down without losing face. So it says ultimately they will reach compromise, but the question is when. And the end says that it's a tortured and vulnerable land with mediocre leaders, so it's not painting a very.
It's not painting a good picture, is it? Obviously, 18 times they tried to settle on a president. They still haven't been able to do that since November, and obviously the face-off between Hezbollah and the government is threatening to maybe produce even more fatalities today. So 8 dead so far, according to our correspondent in Beirut. Petrol next. Now, obviously the barrels hit a record $125 a lash, which is frightening when you consider it. I mean, what are the papers saying there?
Consumers are feeling the pinch. This UAE national daily newspaper called The National, it says the headlines: diesel runs dry and prices soar across Yemen. There are massive queues for petrol. Lots of them have run dry. The country has to import it, but the demands on the suppliers are such at the moment that they simply can't meet the demand, and it's causing a lot of problems, particularly within Yemen as well as other places as well. But notably in Yemen, in the past, there's been sort of civil unrest when these kind of problems happen. In July 2005, the oil prices caused mass riots. So I think the government wants to keep a lid on the situation to stop the becoming conflicts again.
It's going to be hard to do that, because obviously if the barrel goes up even more, as it's predicted that it will, well, obviously things are just going to get worse. Now then, can I just move you on to the ITV scandal? Because obviously this is ITV being the commercial company, the commercial TV company in the UK. You once worked there. I used to work there for them, so it's a fairly nice place to be sometimes.
I just wanted to end on this sort of phone scandal. Basically, they've been fined by the UK watchdog it says that it robbed viewers of £7.8 million. They've been fined 5.7, I think, million pounds.
Explain what this scandal is.
Basically, what it is that viewers were spending up to £1 a time phoning into these competitions for prime time shows, and they thought that they had a hope of winning. Turns out that actually they didn't. That the senior producers were saying, no, actually, we want to choose people based on where they live or whether or not they're going to make good television.
Whether it makes good telly, well, it's often something that producers are accused of, sort of putting that above what they think the story should be, I suppose. But this is basically a light entertainment gimmick which is introduced into different kinds of factual programming.
It's a massive rip-off of the public,
Okay, so people would phone up, they'd have to pay £1 to phone up, £1.
When they didn't have a chance.
They didn't have a chance of winning. So obviously ITV have been severely admonished for that by
and they're not the only ones who've done
regulators.
it. So,
No, of course not. I'm sure they won't be the last either. Catherine, thank you very much for that. It's our International Press View with Catherine Spencer. Thank you for watching. Stay with France 24.